All right. Welcome to Clarity Sessions with Bill Fouth, where we cut through the noise and bring you real, practical clarity on money, business, mindset, and everything in between. Now, if you're a mompreneur, a business owner, or someone who's just ready to take more control of your financial life, this is your space. No fluff, no overwhelm, just simple, powerful insights you can actually use. Because let's be real. When you got the right clarity, you make better decisions, and better decisions lead to a whole different life. And so let's get into it. Today's question is,
what's the difference between revenue, profit, and income for a business owner?
That's a great question. What's the difference between revenue, profit, and income? So, that is very perplexing. There's a lot of words that have double meaning and they do double duty. And the English language has so many words that have so many different meanings. You can say which, like, which, watch, anyway. So the idea is that revenue is considered, it's an accounting term. There's revenue, there's expenses, and then the revenue minus the expenses gives you your profit. And it's on the profit that we pay taxes. And the idea that if we want to sophisticate it a little bit, particularly if we have a business that sells tangible property, you have your revenue, which is from sales, and then you have the cost of those sales, which is the actual products that you sell, and that gives us our gross profit. And then from that gross profit, we have our operating expenses or our infrastructure expenses. And then once we deduct those from our revenue and from our gross profit, then we have our net profit. And it's on the net profit that we pay the taxes. Income is another generic term for revenue or sales is another word for service income. The idea is that it's money that we get from selling something to somebody, whether it's a tangible product or whether it's a service. So the idea is that as a business owner, we want to call it a top line. When we talk about a top line and the bottom line, that's another area of confusion. The top line is sales, and businesses focus on how do I increase my sales, and that's a sales and marketing thing. How do I be attractive in the marketplace? And what am I able to charge, and what's my competition, and all that goes into that. What do I charge for my revenue? Money that comes in from selling my services is my revenue, is my sales, is my income. Now the question is, what did it cost me to generate that? And that's where the overhead comes in. So I get to deduct the ordinary necessary expenses against that income, or against that revenue to create my income. And then based on that income, now I have to share it with the government or other stakeholders. Maybe I have investors, so maybe I need to pay dividends or give a return of capital, or maybe I have a loan and I got to pay interest on the loan, or I have to pay taxes to the IRS or New York State or different states. So the idea is that, and then the bottom line is that after I pay everybody else, what's left over for me as the business owner? So the idea is I want to grow my bottom line, and what are my influence points to grow the bottom line? Well, how do I, and that's in the influence points along the way in my business structure. How do I influence more sales? How do I minimize my costs? So how do I pay less for my product, or how do I have to, be able to deliver what I deliver with less overhead? If I have capital, how do I pay off my loans faster, or how do I, so all those things are where my influence points to make my bottom line bigger. And then again, one of the things I'm talking about, the bottom line you got to share with the government. We draw that circle where 50% goes that we keep and 50% goes out to the government. What we want to do is create some of those expenses up here where we're saving that 25 to 30% in taxes, because we're using the tax code to our advantage to maximize the expenses that we have. So some of those expenses are actually going to the bottom line in terms of helping us live our lifestyle. So I hope that answered your question.